Hey everyone, and welcome back to Finding Your Summit, all about people overcoming adversity and finding their way. My name is Mark Pattison, CEO of Finding Your Summit Media Group, and welcome to another amazing, spectacular podcast. You know, Elvis Presley had a quote, and the quote goes like this: "Truth is like the sun. You can shut it out for a time, but it ain't gone away." And this week I have an incredible soul, and her name is Kechi. That's all she goes by, at least that's what the world now calls her, Kechi. And she's a gal from Nigeria. And if you can imagine this, that she, at the age of 16, was in a plane, and that plane took off with 109 people. They got up into the sky, turbulence happened, and a bunch of other bad things started to go down, and the plane crashed. And out of the 109 people that started that journey, only two lived. So 107 people perished. It was just absolutely awful. And so the next thing is she's waking up 5 weeks later after being in a induced coma, and she's burned on 65% of her body. And what really helped with her healing was the power of voice and the power of song. And she ended up going on America's Got Talent. And this is where I came into the picture. I saw her on that show, and she walks out, and now Simon Cowell is there to ask her why she's on America's Got Talent, and she started to describe this whole event, how it really helped her with the healing. And so the interview today is just really uplifting, inspiring, and I really encourage everybody to go and check out the videos on Kechi on America's Got Talent. She made it to the finals. And then again, they brought her back this last year in 2019, and that she was on the Champions Edition, went all the way to the finals. So just a great soul. She's got a beautiful voice, and I really encourage you to go check her out as well as this podcast. Okay, so I also wanted to let everybody know about my e-learning course called Finding Your Summit, which is located on my website, markpattisonnfl.com. It's got all different things of what I have going on. But in this particular case, you can get a free PDF download, which is really the tip of the iceberg of how you can get inspired about accomplishing things that you want to do in your life. It helped me. It really propelled me along my path of where I've gotten to my quest of climbing mountains and playing in the NFL and starting different businesses. And so everybody needs mentors, everybody needs guidance, and certainly I'm no different. And this all came from my Hall of Fame coaches, which I learned many years ago, and now I put it into this PDF, which leads into some other things, and as well as a free assessment of 10 questions, which helps you measure where you're at in your life, okay? And also, if you haven't already done so, please go into iTunes, and you can navigate through this path either on iTunes or through my website, but please go in and rate and review. It so helps, and I'm so grateful to all you people that have gone out there and done so and continue to come back and listen to these amazing podcasts about people doing incredible things, okay? So finally, this pod is sponsored by violetsarblueskincare.com. Sorry. They're amazing products. They go on your face. They're all natural, and they're all created by Cynthia Besteman. She's always a rock star. So with that said, let's go listen to Kechi. Here we go. Hey, everybody, it's Mark. I'm back again with another fantastic, phenomenal, amazing, incredible, and inspirational episode of Finding Your Summit. And normally I don't throw those words into this, but this week I was truly moved. It was a number of weeks ago that the show America's Got Talent was on, and it was brought to my attention that this amazing soul came on after she had experienced a horrific accident. And so I went on, and I didn't see the live show, of course, but I went back on YouTube and Googled the episode, the show, her, and was blown away. And so I'm so honored today to have you, Kechi, on the podcast. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me on your podcast. I appreciate it.
Yeah, look, I'm so honored, and I was blown away when you actually responded back to me, because you've come. I know you've come a long way, and nobody but you understands the journey that you've been on. And so let's just get to it. What we'll do is we'll just talk about this awful thing that happened to you, and then the recovery, and then this newfound stardom, so to speak, that you've experienced. I know it's all relative, but I mean, man, you've really made an impact in a lot of people's lives. So I think it was in 2005, you were in your homeland of, I'm going to say Kenya, but I know it's not Kenya.
It's Nigeria.
Nigeria, thank you. So you're with all your other classmates, and so you guys go to hop on a plane.
Yeah.
And of the 109 passengers that took off, you guys are up in the sky. Only two survived, and you were one of them. So 107 people passed, and just this awful, awful thing of
Yeah.
coming down out of the earth and crashing. Tell me more about like what was going on? What was the day like? You're up there with your classmates, and then what happens?
It was a very normal day. It was a regular Saturday, December 10th, 2005. Nothing unusual about the day at all that I remember. Nothing stood out to me. And it's typical practice for my boarding school. It was a boarding high school. It was typical practice for them to have students who live in the same area board the same plane to get home. So this was nothing unusual either, the situation. So we 61 of us who live in the same area in Nigeria would board the same plane to go home. And it's the same for those who live in the south and who live in the east, wherever. So we got on the bus and everything was normal. We are heading home. So obviously everyone was happy, high energy. But also we were seniors. So, well, not all of us. It was like people from different grades, but a lot of people that were on the bus from school to the airport were my friends from my grade as well, who are seniors. And the next thing we're gonna do that was major with the SATs. So that was in everyone's minds, I guess. And I know I was going home to start like officially practicing and getting ready for the exam. So these are just the things that were going on when the accident happened. There was nothing unusual about that day. We got to the airport, everything was fine. Plane was delayed for a little bit. Actually, a little more than a little bit. It was like 2-3 hours or so, which again, not too unusual in a busy airport in Nigeria. So eventually, the plane got here. We boarded. People, like you said, 61 of us were students. The others I didn't know prior to the accident. So this includes the flight crew as well.
Yep.
It was an hour and a half flight. So for the first hour, 10 minutes or so, it was fine. There was nothing weird. We ascended, descended through the clouds, everything was fine. But then when the turbulence started and didn't stop, that's when everyone kind of just started freaking out. And it got like way too exaggerated to be normal. People started panicking. There was chaos in the cabin. And I remember just being very still and silent. I was in an aisle seat, so I couldn't see out the window. But I just remember sitting there shell shocked that this was actually happening to somebody that, like, to me, like, it was like literally my reality. And I remember holding my friend's hand. She was in the aisle seat right next to mine, one of my closest friends. And we were both just scared and confused. And everything happens in like a split second. You don't really realize, but it happens so fast. But in my mind, it plays like very slow. I can see all the steps, and
Yeah.
and she holds my hand, and then we're about to pray, and then there's this loud metal scraping sound inside my brain. And then next thing I remember is waking up from a blackout, from a coma in South Africa 5 weeks after I was told.
Yes. So, I mean, amazing. I can't even begin to imagine. I mean, we all fly, and I always try to tune that part of what happens. Unfortunately, the percentage, it's like being struck by lightning or something that
Exactly. It's
this
very small.
happens, considering the amount of planes that, yeah, very small. But when you're up in the air, this whole episode, was it because of the turbulence or was it because of the mechanical failure of the plane that caused this thing to go down?
I believe we were told it was multiple issues, really. Multiple factors contributed to what happened. The plane was old, pilot error. He tried to land in very bad weather apparently, so it was also storming.
Yeah.
Didn't know that. But yeah, I think it's all these different factors that came together that just created that situation. Yeah.
Okay, so now you hit. There's impact. Obviously, you didn't remember any of that because you were knocked out. In 5 weeks, you're laying in a hospital bed. Was that back in the capital of Nigeria, or have they flown you someplace else?
They had to fly me elsewhere to a different country within Nigeria. I mean, within Africa, to get me the treatment that I needed, because at the time Nigeria did not have, still doesn't have, the level of equipment necessary to care for the kind of burn that I had. I sustained third-degree burns over 65% of my body. So they literally had no healthcare provisions for what I had gone through. So my next the best bet for me was to go to the closest place via air ambulance that would actually be able to treat me properly. And that was South Africa.
So going back on the stories of your rescue, of course, you were not alert and awake, when all this was happening. But like, did they talk to you? Did anybody give you the story behind the scene, behind the scenes of where you were at the time? You'd been thrown from the plane. I mean, what do you have any details on that?
Yeah, I do. I was told first everything I know about what happened and why it happened. I was told. I was told that I actually had moments when I was conscious and awake before the coma. It was a hospital-induced coma, so apparently I was awake. I don't remember it, and the bits that I do remember, I thought were dreams until they were confirmed to be real. My mom and other parents were there in the airport waiting for their kids to land when the plane crashed. Everyone ran out of the airport apparently to see what was going on, and the debris was just like everywhere. Plane was just shattered into pieces. And my mom, I mean, just seeing the carnage, it's just impossible to think anyone survived. So she just thought I was gone. So she just prayed and thanks God for like the years that she had with me. And then she left the airport. She was going home. And then she gets a phone call from somebody saying that, like asking who she was, if she's Ijoma Okuchi, and if she is, then her daughter Kechi Okwuchi is waiting for her, is asking for her in the airport hospital.
Yep.
And at first she thought it was a bad joke, but it turned out to be real. And apparently I'd given somebody, the person who found me, I gave my mom's phone number off the top of my head. I don't remember any of that or know how I even remember. I like prior to that I didn't know her number off the top of my head. At least I thought I didn't. So that was definitely very strange. But that's how she found me. She came to the airport hospital, and she saw me there. And I do remember like lying on a gurney and like my hand lifted as I was like staring at my skin hanging down my arm.
Yeah.
And I remember feeling about like a lot of like pressure in my arms and in my face, like please do something about the pressure, please, something like that. I thought these were dreams, but apparently it happened. These were things that were going on while they were trying to just give me emergency care before getting me to South Africa right after the accident happened. I just don't remember it. But I left for South Africa that night. My mom came with me with just the clothes on her back and petty cash that my dad and anyone else could have given her at the time. And she flew in an air ambulance with me to South Africa from Nigeria. And then when I got there, my treatment for the next 7 months began.
Yeah, I mean, long journey, long road back to health, and yeah, I know you're still at it, so it's not complete. Okay, so there's 109 passengers on this plane, of which 107 perished. There was 2. You're one of them. Who's the other person, or was that a classmate of yours?
No, no other student from my school survived. This was a lady who, prior to the accident, was a stranger, just another passenger on the plane.
Yeah.
But I did get to know her after the fact. So after I came back to Nigeria from South Africa, we hung out a bit. She came to see my family. We prayed, we talked. Her experience is different from mine because she didn't pass out upon impact. She was conscious throughout the entire thing, so she remembers everything, including the fall and everything. And so what she remembers is so different from me, and in many ways really really worse. So she just wanted to go lay low, go back to her life, be quiet, not like she didn't want any media, anything. She didn't want anything reminding her of what happened. That was how she wanted to deal with that. And no one could have faulted her for that. But since I moved to America, I kind of lost touch. I lost touch with her like maybe 2-3 years after I moved here, because life just started happening and it was hard to keep in touch. But I would hear from people on my Facebook, like messages and stuff, of people who know her, who tell me that she's doing well and she got married, she has a kid now, and she's
Great.
living a quiet life, yeah, in Nigeria. So yeah, I'm happy to just knowing that she's okay.
Okay, so now let's fast forward the clock just a little bit, and just to fast forward and then go back. So now it's 2017, and somewhere in the universe, you've now landed in the United States. And I want to go back. I want to talk about this, but you decide to enter a contest called America's Got Talent. And so where I come into the picture is I'm watching this video again. I was told, like, you got to see this. And so I'm watching, and of course, you come out on this big stage, and you've got the judges up there, and the main guy that's speaking is Simon Cowell, who's become very famous from his American Idol days. And
Hmm.
so he looks up at you and he goes, "Hi," and you go, "My name is Kechi," and he goes, "Tell me why you are here on America's Got Talent." And you said
Hmm.
something to the fact of, "Well, I went through something horrific, and through that accident, I found my voice." And so, of course, then he asked the natural question of, "Well, what did you go through?" And you kind of recount the story that you just told me. Okay.
Yeah.
So leading up to that point, and now you're like 27 years old, right? In 2017.
Well, yeah, that. Oh, yeah. Then that's how old I was. Yes, I was
Yeah.
27.
Yeah. So you're 27 years old. So now this is roughly 9, 10 years after the accident. So
Hmm.
walk me through how you found your voice and to that moment of 2017 when you're standing on stage, probably for the first time or near that, in front of all these people, in front of these famous faces who are the judges, and you belted out on national TV this beautiful song. What was that like post the accident, post South America, post? Did you come to the U.S. to help with the burn treatment that you had?
Yeah. And so I moved over here to America from South Africa for reconstructive surgery because Shriners Hospital for Children in Galveston, they specialize in burn treatment for kids and teenagers, young adults. So they were my best bet at getting back my independence and just practical movement. South Africa, they saved my life there. But here in America, in Shriners, they gave me back my life and my independence. And I came here to this country in a wheelchair, and by the time I was done in Shriners, I was walking, running, doing everything. So they did that for me, and I will always be grateful to them for doing that for me, for every other patient that they take care of, regardless of their ability to pay. I mean, I think that they're an amazing organization. But so from there, as I got so much better, I started feeling stronger, and like I could actually finish school. So I finished high school. This was in 2009. And then I graduated 2010, and then I applied for schools, took the SATs, did really well, thank God, and got a scholarship to a college here in Houston. So this was where I was for the next 5 years. Five, because the first year I didn't take the number of classes necessary because I still had a lot of surgery in the beginning. But as time passed, I started taking the normal workload of classes and everything, and I graduated in 2015. So all this time, all this surgery, everything that's been going on, music has just always been this thing that has into every fabric of my life. From the beginning, even before the beginning, I was in the coma. I would hear my mom singing to me. I would hear music playing in the background. She would be playing like songs that I like from artists that I love. And so these are things that helped when I first opened my eyes. Music connected me to this world even when I was still in the coma, and they weren't sure when or if I would come out of it. But that's what that did for me. So before the accident, it had such a special place in my heart already, and I already loved singing, and my voice was pretty okay then too. But then after the accident, my voice definitely went through a kind of significant change where it just sounded different in a really good way from what I remembered it to sound like. And I remember my mom was also like, "Oh wow, okay, that's different." But we just kind of went with it, because we couldn't explain how that happened. We just ran with it. And so music became my escape, my ultimate distraction, my therapy, and then quite literally my therapy in Shriners Hospital. They incorporated that into my treatment. So it's just something that I've always had. Just not just the love for music, but being able to actually sing along to my favorite artist was just brought so much joy to me, and also was a kind of catharsis where I don't know, it just gives me emotions and the ability to express emotions that I can't express in any other way, except through this medium.
Yeah.
So that was what music was for me. And my dad bought me a karaoke machine after we moved here.
It's
So I
awesome.
was on that thing 24/7. I still have it actually, and I still use it because those were like that was like the beginning of everything. Me realizing that I really like the feeling of singing with a mic in front of people. Well, people being my family, but still, that was the beginning of just me. Well, I mean, I did used to like every kid really fantasize about being on stage performing like in front of your mirror, like when you're a kid. I did all
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
then after the accident and my voice changed, I did that even more. and it brought me a lot of joy. So singing was something that I was always doing, basically, in my regular life. So it was never something that I felt I wanted to do a competition for or with, because I was always afraid that if I do that with my voice or my singing, it would take away from it would make it like work and take away the joy from it.
Yeah,
That
no,
was
I understand. Yeah, no, I
yeah.
mean it's incredible, and that makes total sense. Now I can tell you that I'm a rotten singer, and I've had all the same fantasies about being in a rock band and being out in front of.
Everyone's had that.
Yeah, but I can tell you, I for sure don't have that talent. That's not my wheelhouse. But how do you then make the leap from, somebody that's using a karaoke machine and singing in front of the mirror and having that, childhood fantasy of being on stage and all the things you just talked about? And how do you make the leap between that and then going on America's Got Talent? How do you even get on America's Got Talent?
I mean, it was literally 0 to 100. So it was literally a leap. There was barely any in between from singing in my living room to singing on that stage. The only difference was a year prior to AGT in 2017, I started singing in my worship team in church. So that
Yep.
was me already going out of my shell and, doing something different and more public with my voice. But I would never, like, AGT, American Idol, all these shows were just never on my radar. But the truth is, because I just didn't feel like my voice was competitive enough to be on those shows. So I was scared because I felt like people would not be able to avoid thinking that I'm here because of my story, because it's definitely a miracle story. And so I didn't want to be there just because of that. And I felt like my voice may not be good enough to sustain my position if I actually end up on such a show. So that was like what was going on in my mind when my friend signed me up. So I actually didn't sign myself up for the show. I have a friend who has always been telling me to do this. And she eventually just got frustrated with me. And in 2016, this was in the beginning, the first semester of my master's, when my master's program started, my MBA. She filled out the online application on my behalf for the 2017 AGT talent show. And then she sent it to me all filled out and told me that all I need to do is just click submit. Like, she's done all the work. And so she just wanted me to, she's always just been someone like, you never know what can happen from this. So,
Yeah.
so I submitted and then I just forgot about it. And then 2 months later, I was getting a call from an agent from AGT talking about how they saw my application and how they want to move forward with me. And that's just how everything started,
Does,
basically.
does,
That's
does,
just it.
does that also come in the video? Like when you submit, do they also want to see some
Yep.
example of you singing?
Yeah, you have to attach as many videos as you can for them to see your style of music and how you sing and how you sound, so they can decide if you're a good fit for the season that they're promoting.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay,
So
so now, your friend puts this application in. You obviously must have attached a few videos or something along with that, and now we fast forward to that magical moment in 2017, and you walk out on the stage. What was that like? I would have been sweating, freaking out. I mean, yeah, and you didn't look like that. I mean, compared to, and we'll get into this 2019 show you're on, but in 2017, I mean, you look confident, and you were just there to do your thing.
honestly, I feel like that's just God. That's just the Holy Spirit, because what I felt on the inside was nothing close to as calm as how my outside looked. Like, I know watching it that I definitely looked like I was, sure of myself. But in reality, I was super nervous. I was very, 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 very anxious. I just had this sudden awareness just standing on that X that, oh my God, I'm actually on this stage. What am I doing here? And why would I let people to have to tell me what they think about my voice? So I had this moment of like, oh God, I'm actually here. And then my heart started pounding, and it was just so hard to like hear anything above my pounding heart, like in my ears.
Yeah.
So it was very, very nerve wracking. I mean, for sure. However I looked, it was scary. So it really helped though, seeing the judges' smiling faces and seeing the audience just so ready to cheer and encourage me. That really helped me get more comfortable as soon as possible
Yeah.
during the performance. And I'm grateful that that went well, because that's what led to everything else.
No, and that's exactly what happened. So, just from my own knowledge, so where is that show tape? Where were you singing, and how many people does that sit?
It's at the Civic Center in Pasadena, California,
Yep.
and it holds about 2,500 people.
Yeah.
So I'm during the auditions, it's full to the brim, and tickets are free, first come first serve. So a lot of people show up just to be in the audience, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
So that's but that's only where the auditions are filmed. The auditions are filmed so basically the first audition was filmed in the Civic Center in Pasadena. The second one, which is the judge cut, was filmed in Burbank, California, so in Universal Studios.
Okay,
And
so wait a minute. So the first one, you're not in front of the judges, is that right?
No, you are. You're in front of
Oh,
them.
you are.
Yeah, you are.
Okay.
What you see of that, like the audition you see, is us seeing the judges for the very first time.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so it's the only difference is just that the audition and then the judge cut episode, those two are not live. They're pre-recorded in these different locations I just mentioned.
Yep.
But then when the live shows start, that's filmed in Hollywood in Dolby Theater, and that is all live from the beginning to the end.
Okay, got it. Well, so you stand up in 2017, America's Got Talent, and you belt out this beautiful song, and it's just like you're looking at it. It's just like these beautiful words and voice and everything else are just transcending out of you.
Wow,
And you did, and you just were like this beautiful swan that was just like this vessel of noise that was coming out, and it was just you could see it in the faces of the judges. They were shocked. The audience was shocked. I was shocked when I was wearing, and I think you got the golden buzzer, right?
Not the first time.
First time, the second time.
Second time.
Okay, got it. However it plays, I mean, it was just an incredible journey that you went on. And then, okay, so now you go along, and when anybody is ever in this, and you're a finalist on that show in 2017, and you go along that path, what did that do to, I mean, you do really have a career, but now it kind of turns into a career, right?
That's true. I mean, I didn't really foresee this trajectory. I had a whole different plan for my life. I was in school. My plan was my MBA. My plan was to get into business or work with the UN, and I had all these leads that I was working towards. I was even working part-time at the time when AGC started, flying me out frequently for like the recordings and stuff. But then I was finding out so much, and I couldn't even say why, so I actually, although I eventually did tell my bosses, but I wasn't around when they needed me, so they actually fired me. So I had this moment where I was just like at a crossroads, wondering if I was doing the right thing. I finally got this job that was so difficult to find, and I lose it over like a show that may or may not pan out, and I was just like, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? I mean, is this silly to like risk like so much of what I've worked for to just fly to LA and sing? I wasn't sure. But
so what did that mean to you? So you go through, there was this period of uncertainty. You're on the show. What does that really mean? And then, boom, everything gets heightened for you. Did that lead to more singing gigs? I think there was a record that you cut somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Your PR. I mean, what did all that actually mean then?
I mean, being on the show, basically, the main thing that AG did for me was to give me a platform that exposed me in a very, very genuine way, as close to my reality as possible to the rest of the world, in a way that no one else could ever have done before that. The show just gave me so much exposure, and I wanted to do what I could with that exposure, as much good as possible. So I've always had these things that I wanted to do, like travel around and meet fellow burn survivors, encourage them, attend burn camps and hang out with the kids there. Wanted to be just an ambassador of hope, and just use my story, use my journey to inspire people, or even just one person that I meet every day, and just let them know that there's life after trauma, and that was something I've always wanted to do, always wanted to give back in some way to Shriners as well. So with AGC, I was able to actually use that platform to do all these things, and that's what the show has done for me. It's given me my platform to reach all these different groups that I've always wanted to reach, and to travel, which I've always wanted to do, and to actually be making a career out of these things, like speaking and singing, things that I love doing with all my heart. So I mean, that's really what the show gave me. I didn't go in thinking any of this would happen. When I was when I accepted, being a part of the show, I was just thinking in my head, well, you know what? I mean, I'll be lucky if I make it past the first audition. If they actually air my episode, that would be, because I still had doubts, because I'm like, this is Hollywood. I mean, do they really want someone who looks like me with the kind of scars that I have on national TV? And not that I felt bad for myself, but just the reality of Hollywood is not that's not what we've seen, so far. So I wasn't sure, would they actually do this? And they were like all for it. They made it happen. They wanted it to happen. And that also helped me realize that, I mean, obviously things are not always as you think that they are, and I just really had demonized this entire industry because of maybe a few celebrities and things that they do, when really, there's different facets to it, and AGT was just one of them. So I'm grateful that it was that particular show that I ended up on to give me this platform, because it's such a it's such a the show pans to like any age group, first of all. So if I wanted to have this message I want to give to any age group, it would be AGT. That's the specific show I would want to do that on. So that's what it did. It spread me out to every age group I can possibly reach. And I mean, I'll always be grateful for that.
Hey, this pod is sponsored by Laird Superfood. So many products to choose from your InstaFuel, your coffee, your tea, your smoothies. And I love the superfood creamer and use the hydration powders like the beets, the coconut, the matcha, the turmeric to mix all into my 7 Summit smoothie. And it's so good. Log on to lairdsuperfood.com and get your 20% off when you use the code MARKP20. Okay? So get your Laird Superfood, and I guarantee it will help fuel your journey. Well, let's talk about some of those opportunities. So one of those opportunities, I don't really quite know the order of how this played out, but I know Extra came in strong with you to do not only a story, but really find some backing around more surgeries for you to help you in your recovery. Talk a little bit about that.
So Extra they have this employee. Her name is Sharon, and she was the one who was watching AGT and saw me. This is during the first one, like the original show, not the Champions.
Yeah.
And she saw me on the show, and she just felt moved to do something for me. So she wanted to put together like a team of doctors and healthcare specialists that could help me in any way that I need help in, surgery wise. But she also didn't want to assume that I, like, what if I was okay with how things were? But if I wasn't, she wanted to provide me the avenue to be able to do more surgery and do everything I've always wanted to do and get fixed. If I have any other issues, even though it's been so long since the accident, which I did.
Yeah.
So after the I think it was right before the finals, right before the finale episode that we filmed, that's when I got my producer telling me about this thing that happened with Extra, and how they have contacted these doctors, and they want to see what they can do for me. And that's how that happened, basically. So after the show ended, the doctors eventually reached out to me personally, and then we made like a wish list of things that I want fixed. And then I went to LA in that summer, and all these amazing things happened, where they gave me the surgeries that I needed to feel better. They just fixed all these little things that have made life make life a little inconvenient, but I had adapted to over the years, But if it's possible to fix them, I wanted to be able to do that. Just for fun is just impossible because it's so expensive. But these were people who were generous, and they had foundations that are geared towards helping people like me, and they wanted to help me. So that's the real Extra played in that. They put that team together. They're the catalyst for the surgeries I had with these doctors in LA, and they were the Grossman Burn Foundation and Lasky Clinic. And they're both in California. And I've had 2 series of surgeries with them. One was last summer, and then the other was just beginning of this year, up until the middle of February. And they've really just helped me to better my life, honestly, and my quality of life. And I mean, the piece that they did was just so beautiful. I mean, I watch Extra every once in a while. I know how long those things are. They never go that long. So to have a whole 9-minute piece, like, on YouTube that they wanted to do for me to really honor my story and my journey on AGT, and Simon, then the role he played in all this, I felt it was so wonderful and just so kind, really.
What's a side question? What's Simon like?
I get this question all the time.
I bet you do.
Question. But I like to think of him as a Sour Patch Kid, really.
Yeah.
He's like, he has obviously those sour moments when he can just like, be so blunt, in the way that he explains how he feels about things or how he
Yeah.
feels about acts, and it's that bluntness that makes everyone so afraid of him, because it's like, what's he gonna say? If he's mean, he's downright mean. If he's nice, he's totally on either extreme. So now, aside from the fact that he's just scary, just like that, then as a singer, it's like doubly scary, because everyone knows that his thing is music, and that he knows music. He knows what's good. So you want to definitely get his opinion and feedback when you're a singer on the show. And I'm happy to say that, he warmed up to me from the get-go, I feel. I really don't know why or how come. I just think that he just saw something in me that, sometimes I struggle to see in myself. Same thing with my friend that signed me up, So he I only ever saw and received his good side, though I did witness his, sour side as well.
Yeah.
I just was never on the receiving end of that. So thank God for that. Honestly, in general, he's definitely softer than he used to be. People say it's because he just had a kid, so he's being a parent has softened him up. Might be true. I just know that I know how he used to be on Idol, and that was not how he was during my season at all. He's definitely softer.
I think the world always has two lenses as you look through. One's the one that are coming, that you internally are looking out in the world, and then the other one, of course, is how the world looks back at you. And so it's very easy for me, because I was another one of them. I was another Simon satellite of watching you and seeing this inner beauty like blossom as the song was progressing, and the way you were able to express that. And so that's what he saw. That's what I saw. That's what the other judges saw. And I know that's what America saw.
Thank you so much, Mark. That's
no, for sure. So, okay. So now let's fast forward to 2019, and America's Got Talent comes up with this show called the Champions version of America's Got Talent. So essentially they're taking the people that placed in the top of each season, and it's been going on for 10 seasons or something like that, right? And they get elevated automatically to the show, and then it's a competition amongst kind of the best, right? So is this where you got the golden buzzer?
That's correct. That's fun.
So the thing that moved me a lot, especially because you can explain this, because I'm making up this name of the song that you sang, but you have these words that climb every mountain and swim every sea or something.
Yes,
right. Yeah. And I'm out climbing mountains, right, all over the world. And so it spoke even more to me, so I saw your original story, I saw the extra story, then I watched you sing this beautiful song. Who was the one who originally sang that song?
Original singer is the guy. His name is Caleb Scott. He's a British singer. He was actually on X Factor a few years back. And was a finalist on the show himself.
Yeah.
He was his name is Caleb Scott. And the version I did, he did a remix with Leona Lewis, also a British singer.
Yeah.
And both very they are very in touch with Simon as well. So it was really cool, because after the episode aired and they showed the buzzer and everything, the two artists actually reached out to me, and they basically tweeted about me online and on Instagram, which was so cool to be acknowledged by the original singers, But yeah, that's who it was. His name is Caleb Scott, and that's his song originally.
Yeah. So now, I don't think the show is still going. Is it now complete?
Oh, no. It ran for about a month and a half, so from January to beginning of February, I believe. So it's over. It's done.
Yeah.
And the winner was the last AGT season winner. The magician.
I know. Yeah. He's great. Yeah, I've seen him before. But what an experience for you to go through and get the golden buzzer, and that's so emotional. On that particular show, I believe Seal, the music artist, was on there, so you got to interact with him. Somewhere in this whole path too, you got to connect with Kelly Clarkson. I mean, are you just running with all these music stars now, or what? Where's your life turned?
It's definitely something that has happened the most being on the show itself. It's the show. They just create these opportunities for people to connect with other people.
Yeah.
So to give you as much exposure to the fields that you are interested in as possible. They didn't even know what it meant for me to sing with Kelly Clarkson until the last moment when they actually called her, because at the end of the day, they after the finale episode airs, they film this episode where all the finalists do a duet or a performance,
You're right.
Drawing act, the difference. major celebrity, and I didn't even know this until it was happening, basically. So after the finale, they approached me about that, and they told me that they were gonna have Kelly Clarkson, and that was so cool because right before I had told my producer the impact that Kelly Clarkson's music had had for me in the most vulnerable time in my life in South Africa. So she was a very meaningful artist to me. There's an album that came out at the time that I cannot hear any song from that album without feeling nostalgic and just getting flooded with so many memories, very, very tense memories from South Africa. But her album was something that was part of my rehabilitation, big time. So to hear that, like days after that, they were actually gonna bring her and she was gonna sing with myself and Angelica, it was like full circle, dream come true. And I told her when I met her what her music meant to me and what her album meant to me. And she is so sweet in person. I mean, that was definitely my highlight from the entire experience, meeting Kelly Clarkson in person, and then singing with her on the same stage. Nothing tops that, honestly. Before that, it was meeting Seal, but meeting Kelly Clarkson and singing with Kelly Clarkson was like, that was just like the top of the bar for sure. So I mean, it's just what the show does. They expose you to all these different artists. Have I met any big celebrities like as big as that since the show? No, not really. But I have met people who are and were very like people who were really popular when they were still doing music. And
Right.
I've had a chance to meet quite a few amazing people actually. But just not A-listers like Phil or like Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah, no, well, look, it's over time, and it's
True.
just amazing. And I've had a few of those types of experiences myself, on more on the athletic front. But it's just amazing, when these people you've seen on TV, or in your case, listen to, in my case, watch them
Mm-hmm.
play
Mm-hmm.
on Sundays, and then
Mm-hmm.
you're actually hanging out with them. You're like,
With them,
I,
yeah.
got- I got, I gotta, I gotta pinch myself. It's amazing.
It was crazy, honestly.
So where do you go from here? So you've had these two amazing experiences. You've been propelled kind of out in the national spotlight. And so, as you have said, you've got this platform now to go out and do good, especially to help reach back and help kids and other adults who've had severe burns, and give them
Mm-hmm.
inspiration the way you have taken
Proud
that.
to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have like an album that you have planned coming out, or are you
Oh
going to go
yeah.
on the road singing, or how does that work?
So right now I'm touring basically right now. So I have just gigs all over America that involve traveling and then going there singing or speaking and coming back. Typically a combination of both, speaking and singing. So that's what I'm doing right now is touring. But then I'm also in the middle of working on an album. So I'm hoping that I can actually release this album by the end of this year, 2019. And I'm going to make an official announcement about it very soon on social media. But I'm very excited. It's going to be my first full length original songs album, and I'm so hyped because I mean, like I said, I didn't see any of this coming, so I want to just do as much as I can right now, as soon as like and before I don't know anything happens. But yeah, I'm very excited about the album I'm about to release. It's going to be self-titled, and I'm very, very, very excited. I'm also working on a book, so um
Well,
that's a bit slower going. But I'm hoping I can also bring that out soon too.
Well, look, Kelly Clarkson, is a great example of somebody who was season one winner of American Idol, and that served her platform, and she's gone on to
Mm-hmm.
superstardom, right?
Yep.
And I really
She's
believe, kind of like
amazing.
Kelly, you have that type of talent that can endure, and so it's not like to me at least, not like a one hit wonder where it's
Oh,
just
thank
like in
you.
and out, and you're going to have a big spike, and then you're going to go away next year, and nobody hears from you again. I think you've got the type of range and probably versatility where you can keep going.
Oh, thank you. I definitely praise so. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you one last question, and I know I'm putting you on the spot here. We didn't really talk about this before, but again, I've heard your voice. I'm sure many of my listeners have heard your voice through America's Got Talent. But is there any chance I could get you to sing a little bit of the song that you sang on The Champions, because it moved me so much?
You're the Reason by Tom Scott. Yes, I can. I'll sing a little bit.
Okay, give me 30 seconds. What do you
Okay,
got?
no problem. There goes my mind racing, and you are the reason that I'm still breathing. I'm hopeless now. I'll travel the mountain and swim every ocean just to be with you and fix what I've broken. 'Cause I need you to see you are the reason.
Awesome. And boom, I just gave you the golden buzzer. You are moving on to my finals all the way. Oh, that was so beautiful. Thank you so much for doing that. I mean, you sing like an angel, and I wish I had your type of talent, but we all have our different gifts, right?
Yes, we do.
Where can people find you? Because I want to make sure that I really broadcast this out and everybody can has a place to connect with you, A, and B, listen to your beautiful voice.
Oh, thank you. You can connect with me pretty much on any social media platform and music platform. My song "Don't You Dare" is on every digital platform: Apple Music, iTunes, and Spotify. Also on YouTube. And I have a YouTube channel, so please follow me. It's Kechi. It's my name, and you can find me with same name, Kechi, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on Facebook. So just look for Kechi, look for the tick beside my name, and you'll find me. And I hope you guys follow me, and I hope you continue to just watch over my journey.
That's awesome. Well, I'm for sure going to watch over your journey. We're going to put some of this stuff in the show notes, and I say this really from the bottom of my heart. I'm so grateful. I'm humbled that you came on the show. You shared your journey. You shared your story. And if there's ever anybody that exemplified actually what this show is all about, finding your summit, all about people overcoming adversity and finding their way, you've done that.
Oh, thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. Thank you. That means a lot.
Okay, well, listen, we look forward to following your career, and best of luck to you in the future.
Thank you so much. This has been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you so much for dropping in and listening to another amazing episode of Finding Your Summit. Truly incredible people doing spectacular things in life, and I hope you were inspired just like I continue to be. Look, I am super grateful that you came in and subscribed to this pod, and would be more than appreciative if you gave the show a ratings and review on iTunes. Trust me, it matters. And then also go share it with your friends, of course. Okay, until next week, go do something great, and remember, it takes a little more to make a champion. Bye. Hey, and thank you so much for listening to the Find Your Summit podcast. We are so glad to have you along for this journey. And if you enjoy the show, please tell a friend, share it on iTunes, spread it to the planet. We're looking to broadcast this to every person that is out there because, as you know, everybody has their own summit that they're going after. Okay, if you're looking to follow my journey, you can find that through my social links on markpattisonnfl.com. That's Mark, M-A-R-K, Pattison, P-A-T-T-I-S-O-N, NFL.com. So, until the next podcast, just remember, clear eyes, full hearts, and remember, it takes a little more to make a champion, so make it happen. Thank you. Bye.